Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Mark David LGBTQ Center at Community College of Philadelphia's Fall Discussion Series. Today's topic is coming out in honor of National Coming Out Day, National Coming Out Week, that happened earlier this month. And today we are joined by two amazing CCP folks over on this side. We have Delilah Mizani Cristal, who's a local performer as well as a CCP alum. And we have Christian, who works over in the Women's Outreach and Advocacy Center on the CCAMPIS grant as a recruitment specialist. So both of these folks are part of the CCP community, and today we're going to be discussing coming out. So I'm going to let Delilah and then Christian introduce themselves, and let's get started. Oh, first I'll introduce myself. For those of you who don't know, my name is Vincent Scarfo. I'm the coordinator for the Mark David LGBTQ Center here at CCP. So I am the person who's in charge of making sure all of these events happen, coordinating our events like the drag show, the launch of our new program, the Trans Success Program. So we have a lot of things coming this month, so make sure you sign up for our mailing list and check out our website and our Pride Portal stuff. And let's kick it over to Delilah to introduce herself.
Hey, what's up, y'all? My name is Delilah Baker, also known as Delilah Mizani Cristal. I went to CCP, I think around like 2014, 2015, or like around that area. And I studied. I was a theater major, and I've been doing drag for about 10, 11 years now. Started when I was 16, and yeah, now I'm just, other than that, I'm just a regular Philly girl.
Great, thank you, Delilah.
All right, I'm Christian Bailey. I work in the Women's Outreach and Advocacy Center under the CCAMPIS grant, which pays for childcare for any students. If anyone has any requests or needs that, please hit me up. Shameless plug. But I took actually my first class back at CCP eons ago. I'm not even going to mention. And then now I've been working for the college for the past almost 2 years.
Great, thank you. So I heard there's a little bit of an echo. Thank you to our audience members who commented. So we're going to be muting our microphones while we're not talking to hopefully minimize that. And we're just going to jump into our first question. So our first question for our panelists here is, what does coming out mean to you? You can unmute yourself with the...
Okay.
There you go.
So coming out to me means like, it's not like when you come out, it's not about who you tell. It's just, it's about owning yourself. It's about, you know, just like, it's really about it, like accepting yourself, being okay with yourself. And once you do come out to, I think once you come out to the person that you can't come out to, that's when it's just like, okay, this is me. It's not a title. It's not, I'm not in a specific category. I'm like, I just know who I am. And like, I don't like, and it's like, you don't care who knows or who doesn't. You just know that you've come into yourself. That's what it is.
Ooh. Seem to have lost connection with Christian's webcam.
Oh, sorry.
You're back.
I'm sorry. Again, working from not in my office, so the camera is a little shifty. But I feel that coming out is a personal journey for individuals, each individual. I feel it is the ability to just honestly be yourself, to allow all the restraints and all the thoughts that have kept you back, all the people that you are trying to please, all the the ideas that you were trying to run from, the thought of running from yourself, the thought of running from who you are. That is what coming out is about. It's about just owning it and owning yourself, and then honestly just freeing yourself and allowing yourself to be free. I feel that anyone that is in the LGBTQ, however however they identify, I feel as though you don't truly begin to start loving yourself until you come out. And again, that's just my opinion. Like I said, I believe it's a personal journey, personal definition for each and every individual.
Yeah, I feel like coming out is a very personal journey, but I also feel like once you've like come out to everyone important in your life, like Delilah said, like once you've gotten past that initial like everyone important in my life knows about this, I feel like there's like this breaking of assumptions that it turns into. So it's no longer about you figuring yourself out because you already know. You've already come out to a lot of people. But now, as you meet other people who don't necessarily know you, you kind of have to break their assumptions that they're making about you based on our heteronormative society. So it's not that you were in the closet, it's that this person doesn't know yet. And so there is kind of like there's different, it means different things at different kind of phases of life, too, I think. So yeah, thank you all for your answers. What has your personal coming out journey looked like?
So for me, I guess like I've always been femme, right? So people like especially in my family, like everyone around me really, like that was the first thing they saw, just a feminine little boy growing up. So I like to say that like I've come out a couple times in my life, especially in high school, but even before I knew exactly who I was, like my mom looked at me one day and she was like, "Do you want to be a girl? Because if you do, just let me know. We can do this. Like we can set it up. I'll save the money for surgery or whatever you need." And at that time, I was scared to say yes because I was born in 95. So like from then into the 2000s, like Jerry Springer and Maury were like a lot more popular than they are now. So growing up around that time, it was like basically the world, especially America, saw that it was okay to like mock us, clock us, separate us from like as far as features or whatever. It was basically like the like being trans, especially a trans woman, it was a joke to a lot of people. So when she asked me that, I'm like, now why would I want to be that? Why would I want to be seen in that light? But then once I came out as gay, like that didn't feel right either. So going back to when I say I came out, like at least 4 times in high school, I came out as bisexual because I was too nervous to come out as gay. Then I came out as gay, and then I started doing drag. So that was something else that I shared with people. And then finally in 12th grade, like in my 12th grade year of high school, I came out as trans. And that was when, you know, stuff got a little real. But I had a support system. So they made it easier for me. But but yeah, coming out was, I mean, it was up and down. I will say that throughout it all, I'm blessed to have had a supportive mom because in this lifestyle, that doesn't seem like the right word for it. But in this life, like all of us aren't blessed with supportive parents. And I'm just really happy that I had a mother and parts of my family that, no matter what I came out as, no matter what I called myself, or no matter what I wore or how I expressed myself, like they just said, okay, this is you. You're my family. I love you. And you know, I'm still living with my mom while I figure out adulthood. So I can coming out hasn't been the hardest, you know. It's not as hard as it could have been. So I call that a blessing.
Um, Delilah, I wanted to say I love your mother. She said, "Do you want to?" I just love her. But I can also say my coming out has sort of been a blessing in terms of the fact that it has not been as strenuous or as rough as some stories that you like to hear. Mentally, it did take a toll on me. Growing up, I grew up in a very understanding, open family. Um, but it's still a traditional black family. So there still was, although it was never said, oh, if you're gay, you're bad. It was also when, people watched Oz and you would see someone kiss, two males kiss. Oh my gosh, that's disgusting. Or you would, talk about, church and things of that nature. So it was always that little voice in the back of my head that was like, this is a phase. When I realized there was something wrong with me, or as I thought something wrong with me, um, was I never forget the first time my brother was like, Vanessa Williams is the most beautiful woman in the world. My brother's 10 years older than me. And I was just sitting there like, I don't see anything. So, and then when I would turn on a different world, telling my age, and I would see Dorian Hayward, I'd be like, okay, that's something I want. But I guess coming out for me, again, I was always effeminate, so people kind of assumed I was called gay bird. But then as my friends, as I used to take this as a compliment, and now it pisses me off, but you were like the cool gay guy, and it's this and that. So I still was very scared. I was doing what I was doing behind closed doors. College, I went all through college. No one really knew except people I was sleeping with. And my best friend called me on it when one day we were driving senior year. We had a mutual friend that I had was messing with. He told her, she was like, "Why don't you just, you know?" So I did come out to her. But when I truly started coming out was when I was working around 24. I was seeing a therapist, and she convinced me, not convinced me, but we just talked about it. So I first came out to my mother, and then my mother was more upset that I had kept the secret because um, she was like, I wish you would have told me sooner so you wouldn't have had to deal with this by yourself. And then I just started coming out to my friends. I stopped caring. But again, what irked me is everyone was like, well, we always known, blah, 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 you could have been yourself. But at the same time, I'm like, these are the same friends that when other people started coming out, they like, oh yeah, so and so is a faggot or this and that, and it's sort of like y'all are saying things. How am I supposed to come out to you and every other word you're saying is pause, no homo, this and that, and the older I get, the more annoyed I get. I've always been a pro-black person fighting for black rights, and then as I started coming out, I remember I was that person who was like, oh no, I'm gay, but gay people don't deserve as many rights because it's still that inner struggle. It's that I'm still trying to hide myself. But the older I get, I am that friend now. It's like if you're gonna be my friend, you're gonna watch what you say. You're gonna be. I'm starting. No, I don't believe in pause. I don't believe in If you love me, you love me. If you don't, you don't. And as I've gotten older, there are people that I thought would always be in my life, and I'm just kind of easing back because it's about my peace and about being, coming out and just being who I want to be. And if I can't be myself, my full self, if I still have to hide myself around you, sort of it's like you're gay, but you don't want to be so gay or flamboyant that you offend somebody. If that's an issue, then I don't need you in my life. So
Yeah, I think like both of you have said, like it's not necessarily a linear or quick thing. I think like Dalyla said, I've come out multiple times in my life. Like I came out as gay, or I came out as bisexual at 18, gay at 19. I started saying queer around my late 20s. I came out as trans in my early 30s. So it's kind of like, I don't know, it's just kind of this, as I've discovered more about myself, I have to come out again and again. I think there's also, I really want to, one thing I always want to talk about when it comes to talking about race and the intersections of LGBT identities is that I don't want white people to get a pass or think that they have a pass when we talk about the ways that specific racial groups deal with LGBTQ issues, because I see or hear a lot of like, well, Latinx culture is like more machismo and Black culture is more homophobic. No. White people invented conversion therapy. We have plenty of homophobic churches. We do a lot of the same stuff around like treating feminine boys different and masculine girls different. There's a lot of social norms in our society that white people are kind of given a pass because our whiteness allows people to be seen as individuals rather than a monolith. And so I don't want any white folks watching along to feel like when we talk about the way that the Black community or the way that any other community deals with LGBTQ issues, we're not saying that they're better or worse than any other community, because I don't want anyone to feel like one group is more homophobic than others. We live in a homophobic and transphobic society overall, and it is everyone's problem and everyone needs to do better. And I don't want people to kind of feel that they're excluded or excused from that kind of, because we're talking about a specific subgroup. So with that, let's just jump into our next question. What is the importance of coming out? Why is coming out important?
First of all, Christian, I just want to say that you really took me back with the gay bird, because that's a gay bird, flame, all that, all that mess. Oh my God, who I miss being a child. But I would say coming out is important because, like I said earlier, like coming out is for you. Coming out is like, because like I said, like back in the early 2000s, it was okay to put a trans woman or a drag queen or anything that like or anybody that identified as femme, like put them up on the stage and be like, is it a man or a woman? You know, like, so when you have these thoughts about what you like or who you are or even who you think you are, like it can be scary to just like have that thought and not act on it because of what other people might think. So when you just own it and you're ready to tell someone, then it's just like, okay, this is me, this is who I am, like, and this is why I'm here and such. Once you let go of that, you're free. You can do whatever you want, and you may get judged, but will you care? Not if you come out. Like, it's just about being real with yourself. That's it.
I wholeheartedly 100% agree with you, Delilah, everything you said. And I will say one thing too, the importance of coming out is to try to be a guiding light for some youth, because I can't remember the name of the child, but I was coming back from, this was April or May 2019. There was a young little light skinned black boy that had just killed himself. He came out and he came out. His mother loved him. His mother loved him and everything, but he came out and his mom convinced him to come out to his friends at school. They ridiculed him, and over the weekend he killed himself. And I'll never forget, I was in the airport, had the most wonderful weekend. And I just started crying in the middle of the airport. It's starting, but we hear these stories every day, all day, every day. And in the heteronormative society, people, straight people, oh, it's that. They don't hear these stories. And I say that because I feel like coming out is, I never was I'm not going to say suicidal, but I'm going to say the idea crossed my mind because it was like, I can't live this way. Life is hard. So if I had someone like me that could be in my life just to let me know it's going to be all right. Like I'm sorry, after that the slogan, yes, that's great that they have it on TV, that they're showing things, but if I had someone personally that could have gripped that little child up and said it's going to be okay, and that's just like now I have some mentees that I'm working with at the college, and it's like I don't know, and I'm not coming to sit and break. Oh, okay. I'll be one point I was like I'll be gay, but I'll keep it to myself. And now I'm at the point where it's like I can meet a younger person, and I'm like, yeah, I consider myself pansexual, but for when we're just trying to have it short, I say gay. But I love telling students that because I want them to know that if they're battling anything inside, if they need just a person, an ear to talk to, if they need someone to lay their burdens on to help carry the weight. And I'm not here to tell them you need to come out. I'm not here to do it. I'm just here to help them along their own journey. So I think that is the importance of coming out as we get older, and it's just to help this younger group because everyone's like, oh, it's more acceptable now. It's more on TV. Yeah, that's what the world wants you to see. But you still got people calling kids gay birds, faggots. You still got, people, Vincent, I just told you just the other day, even, and trans people have it bad, even in the LGBT community. So, just the world. So I feel as though, yeah, just coming out again, I would have said everything Delilah said. So that's number one. But also, like I said, I just wanted to add that to be a role model, to be a guiding light, to be just a simple light of hope in a tunnel of darkness. So that's why I feel as though it's important to come out.
Yeah, I think both of you have really touched upon this, but like having even one supportive person in your life can make a huge difference. Like there's actually been studies, like we know that LGBTQ folks, especially trans folks, have higher issues with like suicidal ideation and mental health issues, and that's not tied to identity, but it's tied to the fact that we are basically dealing with something that the rest of our family does not identify with or know. So the folks who are closest to us may not be able to support us or help us in that way. And so we are dealing with like, we don't fit all of these ideas of what everyone else seems to think is the norm. We are the only ones who are like this. We are very different. Like, so without that kind of other person, that the other visible person in your life, like you may think you are completely alone and you are not connecting with all of these things that everyone else in your family seems to hold as universal truth. And so that's very isolating. It's very like, there's something wrong with me. I'm different. Nobody understands me. That's very isolating and lonely experience. And so the studies have shown that when you have even one supportive adult in your life, your risk for suicidal ideation and other mental health issues significantly decreases just from one supportive person. And so part of coming out is also finding other folks who are like you, finding folks who will support you, finding folks who will love you unconditionally and mean it unconditionally. And so the only way to find that community and find those people is to be authentic with yourself, because if you don't, how's anyone going to know that you're part of this community, that you need that support, that you have that shared experience, that shared trauma? So coming out is also important to finding that and to being able to talk about these things, because it really messes with your mind to live in a heteronormative society. And it's you have to actively not talk about your sexuality and sexual and gender. And I don't think people realize how often it comes up. Like people will be like showing family photos on their desks and talking about their weekend with their family, and like a lot of our casual conversation, a lot of our small talk centers around our social lives. So how can you be part of the LGBT community and be in the closet and still participate in those conversations without lying or without excluding pieces of yourself? And so, like, people who are like, oh, I don't want to be political, like, people always make everything about sexuality. Like, straight people talk about their sexuality all the time, but it's not seen as part of their sexuality because heterosexuality is seen as the default.
Can I add something? That's it,
Yes,
real quick.
please.
Just wanted to say, also, just a little anecdote. I have, two best friends. One is known forever, and one I came out right after my mom. The one I came out to right after my mom, it was like 24. By the time I was 24, by the time we were both 24, she was like, "You like the same thing I like?" And I was like, "Yeah." And she's like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so happy you finally told me." Whereas when we were 19 in college, we got into an argument with her well, he was her boyfriend at the time, became her child's father. He was pro gay rights. She was, says it in the Bible, you need to fight it. It's a sin. You're going to hell. Me being so in the closet, I was on her side. But it's funny now. I'm saying this too, like I said, the role model for other gay people, but you can also be a role model and see people for heterosexuals. Because now my best friend, like I'll tell you, she'll be out there on the fight with me. She tells me sometimes she comes to work, and I'll go home sometimes and I'll talk about you, Vincent, and I'll have to say they them, and then she's like, yeah. And it's funny hearing her. She's like, yeah. So I was at work, and I know it's ladies on my last call, but I had to stop, caught myself. I said, "Hey y'all," instead of saying "Hey ladies," because I don't know what a person is. And it's just awesome to see the light bulbs go off, in her head. And like I said, I have several other friends that, like I said, you back in the day they said some harsh things, but as we're getting older, it's like they're ready to pick up the lantern too and say, like if I say, "Hey, I'm fighting, I'm doing this and that," with they'd be like, "Okay, tell us what we need to do." So, role model on both sides. I just wanted to throw that
I think it's also, yeah, it's really important to kind of see those reactions too. It's like you need someone who's willing to be like, I care about you as a person, and like whoever you are, like I'm gonna learn how to accept you and also advocate for and fight for you. Like I don't have any room in my life for folks who are gonna misgender me behind my back or not correct folks when they misgender me in their presence. Like I need you to be an active ally. I need you to be like there for me and my identity as well. So,
And I
yeah,
just want to add, that's why I don't go to family functions because, like I said, me and my mama, we tight. But it's like, whereas she would, whereas
Was
she
that her
would, like,
beautiful self that just made a cameo?
hmm?
Was that your mom's beautiful self that just made a cameo?
No, that was, no, like that that was another family member, but that wasn't my mama. No, but like I said, like while she is great at, no shade, mama, I love you. While she is great at, recognizing me as her daughter while I'm at home, like she doesn't understand why it's so important that I need her help when it comes to other sides of my family, because I tell them all the time, I'm like, hey, it's not like it's not cool. I don't go by that anymore. And then they'll just keep doing the same thing, and like my mom just won't back me up on it. So yeah, like Thanksgiving, Christmas, I haven't seen my family in that capacity in a couple years, and it's like until we're all on the same page, until we can all get on the program, um, keep your presents. Keep your mac and cheese, collard greens, turkey. Keep it. Love you. Keep it.
Yeah, I've been getting into a little bit of hot water with my family for being the loud person who's like always starting fights and arguments and stuff. And it's like, I don't know, if someone said something problematic and it made me uncomfortable, and I voiced that discomfort, and now y'all are just like you're uncomfortable with what I had to say in response, but you're not taking issue with the thing that was said that made me respond that way. And so like I've just kind of started having those conversations and pointing those hypocrisies out and saying like, you can keep inviting me to this stuff and I'll be here, but I'm not going to sit here and let y'all say these things or perpetuate these things or misgender me or do whatever. I'm going to say something, and if you don't like that, you can stop inviting me, but I'm not going to, I'm here to see the family members that I do love and care about, and who do respect me and take care to respect me. And if anyone else wants to say something, they can get an earful from me, or they can keep their mouth shut. And that's how it's going to be. Do you think that we can ever be done coming out? Like, does coming out ever stop?
I don't think we can ever stop coming out because, you know, like we because we grow older, and as we grow we become different each time, or at least like each every like 5 years to a decade, I'll say. But yeah, like what you what you think you like romantically or sexually right now might change when you get older, like as the brain expands, and as you come to understand like different parts of time and different parts of the world,
Your
like
understanding of gender altogether,
all
like
together, all together, like it, like what, what's like what you think, like once you think you know what you know, you learn something else, and then you're just like, I think I identify with that. So that might be a part of me that I didn't know. So no, I don't think we're. I mean, like I don't think we're ever done like coming out, but I don't. I don't think we I don't think that that changes who you are. But you know, we all become like we all like we always find something new about ourselves anyway. So that's all I got to say about it.
Yeah, look, piggyback off of that too. That was me. Like uh, 4 years ago, I was just gay, and now I'm like, oh, I'm pansexual because I definitely identify with that. But I guess I look at it as um, like I can take for instance, my life is completely flipped from what I wanted it to be. Whereas when I was younger, I was hoping people didn't know I was gay. I hope I didn't walk in a room and everybody was like, he's gay. Now it's like I don't care. I actually want everyone to know I'm gay, so I don't have any. There's no misconceptions. There's nothing. I'm wave my flag. But it's funny, like I'm still, although I want that, I still go to work and people I have been working with them or been friends with someone for a while, and they're like, "Wait, you're gay?" And whereas back in the day, I'd be like, "Oh, you didn't know?" Now I'm like, "Oh, yeah." But where I took it as you'll never finish coming out because it's like, okay, I would love to be in a world where we didn't have to come out, but we don't live in that world, and I don't think it's going to change anytime soon. So I look at it as I feel like you're always going to have to come out because I'm always going to have to explain to somebody, oh, like da 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 da. Like Vincent, I'm not going to get very specific about the story, but you remember last week when I came to vent to you, and I'm like sitting there talking to a person, and they're trying to say something, and I'm like they said, well, a person wakes up and they chooses to be gay. And I'm like, well, when I woke up, I said, when I was born and woke up, I didn't choose to be anything. I believe that I was born gay. And the person just looked at me and it took, I could tell for a minute, they tried to keep it up. But I'm like, why do I have to do this? You watch, you watch what you say around people. If you want to have your little ignorant thoughts, keep them to yourself. But, that's how I feel like you'll never finish coming out because this society that we live in, it's always somebody that's going to push your buttons or ask the wrong stupid questions. And I hate saying that to anybody that's out there. I don't mean if you're generally trying to learn and you generally have a question and you generally care about somebody's well-being, please ask. But those that's just dumb and ignorant, keep your questions to the side. So.
Yeah, like you said, I don't think we'll ever be done coming out. I think that coming out is something that is a symptom of our society where we have a heteronormative default. And so without removing that heteronormative default and allowing for folks to explore their sexuality and gender expression, like we're going to have to keep coming out because people assume straight and cisgender as the defaults. Like, which is why we have things like passing, where it's like, even if you're not trying to pass, people will be like, oh, I didn't even know. It's like, well, did you need to know? Like, Like, why is this a huge issue? Why does this have to always be a thing? And I think as we talk about pronouns and kind of breaking down the gender binary, people don't like change. People don't like being told what they were taught their entire lives is wrong. People don't like to confront internalized biases. Yeah. So I feel like we're going to have to keep coming out, but hopefully things will get better. I don't know if we're ever going to get to a point where we'll be able to completely stop coming out based on how our society has gone so far. I feel like I was going to say something else, but I forgot. Dalyla, you're muted. What were you going to say?
I was gonna say, like, especially like anybody on a dating app, like especially like trans women on like cis heteronormative like dating apps, you are not done coming out, child. You like anytime Dick and Harry that you see and he don't know what's going on and he all like and he up in your inbox on some you beautiful, can I get to know you this and the third, like you not done coming out to him because you gonna have to tell him who you are eventually because you don't want you don't want him to be surprised like that. You don't know how that could go, right? But and just with anybody, even to my fellas or anybody in between that, looking for sexual. Can you damn. Like but even like all my Jack and Grinder fellas, like if you about them, you gotta tell somebody about that. If you a type, you gotta tell somebody about that. Verse like it's all about getting what you want, like finding your tribe and see like whatever's out there.
Gay dating is an entire another section. I feel like we could do an entire panel on like the different, like I feel like when you come up in the queer scene or the lesbian scene or the gay scene, like there's different rules for dating. And I feel like a lot of I'm loving the queer dating scene. There's a lot more conversation. There's a lot more consent. There's a lot more like discussion, a lot less ambiguity. I do not miss the gay male dating scene. I feel like it was very like nonverbal communication, unclear communication, lack of like labels or lack of like any sort of definition or like this is what I want or whatever. Like I constantly feel like I have to educate even cis gay men on basics of trans 101 stuff. And it's like, I don't want to be educating you before I can date you. So like I would love to find someone who's already trans competent. So like, I'm not going to say that I'm completely T for T, but at the same time, like I don't really want to be educating a cis person on the basics of like trans identities and how to treat me with respect. And so like if you're not coming from a place of respect immediately, like if you make a mistake and I correct you, like the response to that correction will be a determining factor whether this conversation continues or not. I could talk about that stuff forever.
I feel like I'm asexual. That's how long I've been out of the daggone dating game.
So also like I think about it a lot, like how I used to identify as a gay man, and now I identify as a queer non-binary person. And like part of the reason for that is like I still like tend to be attracted to folks who are mask of center. But I don't even identify as mask of center. So like, is that like gay? I'm not a man who's attracted to men. I'm a trans femme person who's attracted to a big chunk of the gender spectrum that is not confined to just men. So it's like these labels no longer fit me based on my understanding of gender, how I identify myself. And so like those labels didn't necessarily change, but like how I thought about myself and how I thought about my gender and other genders, it really did change how I identify myself. All right, so that was our second to last question. So this is our final question of the day. What advice would you give to someone who is still in the closet?
To just come on out. Just come on, child. Come on. It's 2021. What you still doing in there, baby? No, I'm playing. But to anybody who is like who is struggling or not even struggling, but to anybody still in the closet, like they can be like they can be thoughts for right now, but you won't necessarily know until you try. And like I just said, it's 2021, and while we have while we have much more evolving to do, and like not only as like a community or a state or a country, but as a world and a society entirely. Like we've come so far, and like we've grown so much as a society. So I would say, yeah, like just like if you're thinking about it, if you have questions about it, ask someone and try it. And if you identify with it, like tell like I said, like tell that, like if you feel comfortable, tell them or come to yourself. But you don't like, but it's not a race. There's not a time limit on it. Like it's all about when you're ready, and you know when you're ready. That's it. Like no one can force you to be who, like no one can force you out the closet. That's it.
Yeah, it's it's your journey. You know, me and Delilah, we definitely invested. We want you to come out. We want you to be a part of this community to have that burden off of yourself. But at the same time, we also know it's hard. We also know if you're scared that you're gonna get kicked out of your house, you're scared people gonna, turn their backs on you. Whoever does that, they weren't there to begin with. But one piece of advice I can say is you need to find somebody that you can trust, um, to talk with, and more than likely, I feel like it should be, if you can, it should be a professional, because simply because number one, they're non-objective, and they're what's the word? They can't say, what's the word I'm looking for, Vincent? They can't say anything. Like they mm, they have to adhere to doctor patient privileges, or like Vincent, if you came to Vincent's office because you work
Confidentiality.
Confidential. Confidential is the word you're looking for.
confidential. So, but like, like Vincent's office is someone, because I've heard horror stories where people have come out to friends that they thought that they can trust, and they've then exposed them to the world. So it is your own journey, and I feel like just talking to someone, just sometimes saying the words out loud, because I remember the first time I actually admitted to myself was 19. I had a bad panic attack at college. It was up IUP in the middle of nowhere, and I decided to go to a therapist. And I wrote on the, other than my best friend and the people I had been doing things with, I never even said it out loud. And I wrote on the info sheet, and I was like, do you have issues? He said something about sexuality. I had yes. And the therapist asked me, the inpatient therapist, and she said, you wrote on here, do you consider yourself gay or not? And then I kind of just like said, real low gay. And she said this, she was like, I can tell this is the first time you've even said it out loud. And I was like, yeah. And after that, the tears just started coming down. So that's just my opinion. I'm a big advocate of therapy and just talking to people. So, but again, it is your own personal journey. We want you to come out, but you have to be ready. Don't let anyone else force you. Don't let anybody else try to keep you.
We seem to have lost and Christian's microphone and camera feed. Oh, and he's back.
Whoo, child, together. All right, that was it. I think the mic, the camera was like, all right, we done with you talking.
Seemed like
But
you were wrapping up anyway. Like you were almost at the end of the sentence. It seemed like. Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of my advice centers around like you said about the fears of being kicked out of your house. when it comes down to it, unless someone is impacting your livelihood, don't be afraid of what they have to say or what they think. Like, I think the only reason, or not the only reason, but I think that the only like real concern with coming out is being kicked out of your house, being cut off from financial support or financial security, being fired from a job. Like, those are all like really serious and concerning things that like do have a real world impact. That being said, I think beyond those things, like people who just don't accept you, people who will try to change you, people who will try to tell you you're going down the wrong path, like all of those things, like you can't control other people's reactions. You can only be your authentic self, and how they react to your authentic self is on them, not on you. And if they choose to react negatively, that's their fault. Like, you didn't ruin the relationship, they did. And so I think that coming out and being true to yourself is being comfortable with letting go of the people who will not respect you for who you are and who will not continue to love and support you as your authentic self. I think it is important to be ready and to know what you're getting into and what to expect. But I think a lot of times we overthink and overanalyze what people think or feel about us. Nobody is thinking about you as much as you are thinking about you. Don't be afraid to reach out and get support. Like, if you are going like into the neighborhood to go out and meet friends and get involved in things, or joining a sports league like Stonewall Sports, like only queer folks and allies are really joining those organizations and showing up to places like that. So you don't have to be concerned or paranoid that you're going to like run into someone. I think that if there's certain people in your family that might connect to like family members who go out those places, like, yeah, maybe. But other than that, I think people get really concerned about like, oh, if I go to this place, or if I go to a place where there's LGBTQ folks, I'm going to get outed, or someone's going to see me. But if you see someone you know in those spaces, hopefully that person is an ally who then can be the first person that you really talk to and find that support. But like I said, it's unlikely that straight folks who are not allies, who are not part of the community, are going to be in those spaces. I'm not going to say it doesn't happen, because a lot of times straight folks take over LGBTQ spaces, like Friday, Saturday night at Woody's. So I don't want to say it doesn't happen, but I think there's safer ways to do things. There's things that you have to, like I said, sports leagues, things like that, where you have to sign up and register. Those may be a safer option, but definitely go out and find community, create space for yourself, even when you are in the closet. You don't have to come out to your family. You don't have to come out to your friends, but you can make new friends. You can find community. You can do those things. You just have to get over the paranoid idea that everyone's watching you, and that you're living in a fishbowl, because there is something nice about living in a large city, that you can find pockets where you are somewhat anonymous. So take advantage of that. And find your tribe, find your people, find your support system, because coming out to your family and like dealing with a relative who may kick you out of the house is a lot easier to do when you have a friend who you can go live with, or you have a backup plan or something to do. So I think like I said, there's valid reasons that you may not want to come out. There's reasons that may impact your livelihood. But having a support system makes all of those things easier. And so definitely seek that out. Find folks who are like-minded, find folks who are allies, and get that support for yourself.
Can I add something, Vincent?
Please do.
Sorry, just wanted to say one of the main reasons too I was scared to come out and even admit it to myself was a lot dealing with religion. One thing I want to say, I am a gay man, I'm a black man, I'm a Christian man, I'm a lot of different things. I still am a Christian because I luckily have had men of God, and I'll just say
The camera always seems to cut out just at the right time. Hopefully he'll come back in a second. And we're back. Here we go.
Okay, that have taught me how to read the Bible, read things properly. A lot of people don't know there is nothing in the Bible that says gay people are going to hell. There's literally no verse. There are verses that, however, talk about things people want to pick and choose. Um, and I love going back and forth with people because, you tell me, oh, well, deny this and that. Well, you're wearing a cotton blend. You're not supposed to do that. How about that? How about you're eating meat on the Saturday? If we want to come from that, we want to play this game. You can do that. The whole issue of Sodom and Gomorrah, it's about um, rape, and it has why it was destroyed was not because people were gay. Anyway, I'm about to go on a tangent, but I'm saying do your own research. There's a gentleman on Instagram I love, and he always says research over me search. So a lot of times you have, oh, you follow him too, the consciously. I love him.
I
But you
love
have,
me some consciously,
I,
honey. I
I
love
love the
it.
consciously. Like he's so awesome. But you gonna have some women, and like I said, I even follow on TikTok. I can't think of her name, but she's a gay preacher, and it's so awesome because she pulls out parts of the Bible like da 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 da. But I say this because a lot of people say, oh, they hate da 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 da. You just have to find your right tribe. You have to find your right people. If your mama's church ain't working for you, like and I guess or whatever you're doing, then you have to do your own research and you have to find your own people. So I just wanted to say that because I know religion played a big part of my scariness of coming out. But now that I'm out and I know who I am, I have a beautiful relationship with God. And He is also part of the reason I'm, happier than I was years ago. So that's all.
Yeah, there's definitely LGBTQ folks in pretty much every religion. I actually almost went into seminary and was like a religious scholar. I actually have I have some books in my office about the way that the Catholic Church in the Middle Ages actually performed same-sex unions. And how a lot of the stuff around homosexuality was actually added in translations of the Bible with the
It actually means
James
pervert. I mean,
translation.
pedophile.
Yeah, so a lot of the instances of man who lies with man has to do with like man who lies with boy. So it was mistranslation of pedophilia. I think there was also an instance where like lay with a man as if you would lay with a woman, which actually had more to do with
The
um,
power structure of the home.
yes. And so there's a lot of like if you actually read the original translation, the original text in Hebrew, oh, like there's not really any of these things about like anti-LGBTQ views in here. There's also just there's so much like scholarly research out there about like what the Bible actually says about LGBTQ identities, and a lot of it was added in the last like century, not even last millennium. Like a lot of this stuff has been added by religious groups who are capitalizing on political momentum of using hate and fear to rally political movements. And so the pro-life movement was started in response to Roe v. Wade. It wasn't really around before then. A lot of religious like fervor and a religious like anti-LGBTQ stuff that is disguised as religion. A lot of that is in a means of control, a means of fear, a means of keeping folks in line. And a lot of it's not actually in religion. Like I've dated a pastor. I went on a few dates with a pastor. Like there there's no universal understanding of any religion, and there are queer sects of every religion. I know Muslim friends who are LGBTQ folks. I know Jewish friends. I know atheists and agnostics. I know Hindu friends. I have friends from pretty much any religion who are part of the LGBT community. And if anyone says that you can't be LGBTQ and part of your religion, it's time to find a new denomination within that religion where they will accept you and stop listening to that hate speech, because they're repeating stuff that has been recently added to texts in order to justify their bigotry. And also don't feel that you need to justify yourself in the terms of religion, because why should something that was created thousands of years ago through men who are faulty. I feel like any religious text that was written by men, being human race, but also men specifically, can't really necessarily be trusted. And so why are we justifying what we are doing now in 2021 based on texts that weren't even equipped to deal with the society and the things that we are dealing with? Like, those should be a basis for like how you live your life, a moral guide. It should be a lot of things. It should be, the parables exist for a reason. There's many reasons religion exists, but justifying hate, persecuting people, telling people that who they are and who science says they are and backs up that like we are real and legitimate and that we exist in nature and that the science backs up that our identities are true. Like, how can you sit there and say, well, this 1,000-year-old book, couple 1,000-year-old book says that everything that we know and that we've learned is wrong, and even if you're not part of that religion, we need you to follow this. Like, a lot of our laws in the United States are justified using Christianity, and we're not even a Christian nation, even though a lot of people will even say we are. We're literally founded on a separation of church and state. The college is a nonprofit organization, so like we're not going to get into any sort of like political like parties and into any sort of like political stances. However, I think it's important as an LGBTQ center to talk about how religion and politics can interact to create this kind of perfect storm of homophobia and transphobia. And that's not a political statement, but that's just a reality of how systems of oppression kind of rear their heads. So, yeah, I feel like we got really deep in that, but we're at an hour. That is our time for the day. So I'm just gonna open it up to like any last closing comments or closing thoughts, and then we will say goodbye. And then Delilah's phone battery just died. So bye, Dalyla. Thank you again for coming. Again, that was Dalyla Mizani Cristal, local performer. She performs locally in several nightclubs. Oh, you're back. All right. Thank you all for being here. Thank you, Dalyla. If you want to catch Dalyla, you can find Dalyla, do you want to just send me
yeah, like, because I'm not usually doing things like this. This is the most like, I would say, intellectual or calm thing I've ever done. You can catch me at a Level Up Bar and Lounge for a show or a drink. You can catch me at Taboo. Like,
That's
I'm
where I know
always.
you from.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm in the
Mm-hmm.
okay. All right.
Like you can catch me anywhere, either like with a tray full of drinks or with thigh high boots on, doing something kikiing and carrying on. Yeah, just come and check me out. Like, if you're in the Philadelphia area, and especially if you're queer and you visit the neighborhood a lot, you'll see me somewhere. Like, I'm down there almost every day.
What's your Instagram?
My Instagram is queendmc.official. So you like follow me there, and I have other and on TikTok I am Delilah the Party Girl. So make sure y'all follow me. You know, and yeah, come support your girl. Support Black trans women. Support Black trans business. Support people. Period.
Yes. And if you are a parent, you have children, and you are a CCP student, and you would like a child care grant, you should definitely reach out to Christian, who I will let him talk about that a little bit more.
Yes, we help pay for childcare. If you have any questions, you can email me. L as in Larry Bailey, which is Bailey. Again, it's CL Bailey at ccp.edu. Yes, we have a grant, so you do not have to pay it back. We assist with childcare, and you actually can choose the child care center of your choice as long as it meets our criteria. So I won't go into that too much. Again, if you have any questions, please email me.
And I popped Delilah's Instagram and Christian's email in the chat. So if you would like to find them, even if you're watching later, you should be able to see the live chats over to that side. So thank you for both being here. And thank you for our audience for watching our second discussion series. We will be back next month with another discussion. So see you then. And again, follow us on Instagram. Everything is at CCP LGBTQ. Check out our website and join our mailing list. Thank you all and have a great rest of your evening or afternoon. Bye.